15 best perennials to plant in November to beat the winter blues and bloom brightly in spring. Hey there, garden dreamers and nature lovers. Welcome back to Earthly Delights. If you're someone who can't help pausing to admire a neighbor's blooming yard, or if you find comfort in the quiet rhythm of watering your plants after a long day, this video is made just for you. Maybe you have a cozy balcony filled with pots, a small backyard that feels like your sanctuary, or even a few green friends on your windowsill that make your morning softer. You're the kind of person who believes that caring for plants isn't just a hobby. It's a way of bringing peace, purpose, and beauty into your life. Now, as November settles in and the air turns crisp, most gardens fall silent. But what if I told you this is actually the perfect moment to plant the promise of spring? Today, we'll explore 15 of the best perennials to plant right now. Hardy, low-maintenance companions that will beat the winter blues and greet you with vibrant color when the frost melts away. So grab your gloves, breathe in that cool autumn air, and imagine the joy of seeing your garden burst to life when winter finally ends. And before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights, your home for real, practical gardening wisdom that grows with you season after season. Part 1, The Brave Bloomers. Flowers that defy the frost when the world outside feels cold and still. These brave perennials quietly prepare their magic beneath the frozen ground. They don't wait for warmth or perfect weather. They rise through the chill, reminding us that beauty can bloom even in the hardest seasons. Let's begin with the first heroes of winter's edge. Flowers that dare to blossom before the frost fades. Hellebor's winter's gentle miracle when most of your garden still sleeps under a blanket of frost. The hellebore, often called the Lenten rose, awakens quietly, almost shyly, as if whispering, "Spring is coming." Its blooms push through cold soil and melting snow, offering soft shades of ivory, blush, and deep plum, while everything else remains bare. It's a flower for those who appreciate subtle beauty, for gardeners who find peace in patience and calm in quiet corners. Hellebores thrive in partial shade, especially beneath trees or along walls where the soil stays cool and moist. They ask for little, just rich, well-drained earth and a touch of care in the fall, and in return, they reward you with years of steady early bloom. Their evergreen leaves stay lush through winter, giving your garden a touch of life when most plants fade away. For city gardeners with shaded patios or small backyards, this plant is a gift. It's resilient, timeless, and dependable. The kind of perennial that feels like an old friend returning every year to remind you that even in the coldest months, life quietly continues. So this November, plant a few hellebores, and when winter begins to thaw, you'll be greeted by one of nature's most tender miracles. Snowdrops, the first sign of hope when winter feels endless and gray. Snowdrops are the tiny messengers that whisper, "Hold on, spring is almost here." Their pure white blooms hang delicately from slender green stems, often breaking through snow before the calendar even reaches March. There's something almost magical about seeing these little flowers emerge when everything else still sleeps, fragile in appearance, yet stronger than they look. For gardeners who love small details and quiet victories, snowdrops are a perfect fit. They thrive in cool soil, prefer part shade, and look stunning when planted in clusters, beneath trees, along pathways, or near stone borders, where their soft white bells can be easily admired. Once established, they'll return faithfully every year, multiplying naturally to form charming carpets of light, a gentle promise that life always finds its way back. Even if you have a modest space, a courtyard, balcony box, or shaded garden bed, snowdrops will bring early brightness to your view. They're low maintenance, elegant, and deeply symbolic, the embodiment of endurance, purity, and hope. Plant them this November, and as the cold lingers, imagine those first white blooms, pushing through frost, reminding you that no winter lasts forever, and that renewal always begins quietly, one flower at a time. Crocus, the bright messengers of spring. Just when you start to think winter will never end, the crocus appears, bold, colorful, and full of joy. These little gems are among the first flowers to bloom, sometimes even pushing through the last patches of snow as if they can't wait another moment to celebrate life. Their vivid petals, in purples, yellows, whites, and striped combinations, catch the faint sunlight and turn the dull winter ground into a cheerful mosaic of color. Crocuses are perfect for gardeners who crave early signs of life, but don't have much space to spare. They thrive in sunny spots with well-drained soil, and they're just as happy in garden beds as they are tucked into pots or between stones in a path. Once planted in the fall, they require almost no attention. Nature does the rest. And every year, they return stronger and more abundant, spreading their joyful presence across your garden like confetti. If you're the kind of person who smiles at the smallest green shoot after months of gray, the crocus is your kindred spirit. It teaches you that joy doesn't have to wait for perfect conditions. It simply needs a bit of courage to bloom, even in the cold. So plant them this November, and when the first hints of spring arrive, your garden will already be celebrating. Part 2, the romantics. Timeless blooms with heart and soul. Not every flower shouts for attention. Some speak softly, carrying emotion in every petal. These are the perennials that turn your garden into a storybook, filled with grace, nostalgia, and quiet charm. They bloom not just with color, but with feeling, perfect for those who see their garden as a reflection of the heart. Bleeding heart, love in petals. Few flowers capture emotion quite like the bleeding heart. With its delicate heart-shaped blossoms hanging gracefully from arching stems, it feels like something out of a love story written by nature itself. Each bloom looks like a tiny pendant of pink and white, swaying gently in the cool spring breeze, soft, tender, and quietly powerful. When you see them appear after a long, gray winter, it's like the earth itself is sighing with relief. For gardeners who treat their space as a sanctuary, a place to breathe, to heal, to feel, the bleeding heart is a perfect companion. It thrives in part shade, where the soil stays moist and rich, protected from harsh afternoon sun. Once planted, it grows gracefully, asking for little attention while offering unmatched beauty in return. After blooming in spring, it retreats gently into the soil for rest, waiting patiently to return next year, just like an old friend keeping their promise. Whether tucked beneath trees, beside pathways, or near a cozy garden bench, bleeding hearts bring a romantic softness that makes any corner feel special. So this November, plant a few roots and imagine those pink hearts swaying gently come spring, a living reminder that even after the coldest seasons, love always finds its way back to bloom. 5. Peonies. Patience in bloom. There's a kind of quiet luxury in watching a peony unfold. Each bud, tightly wrapped through winter, opens in spring like a secret finally revealed. Heat a layer after layer of soft petals, glowing with color and fragrance that fills the air. Whether it's a blush pink that whispers elegance or a deep crimson that radiates warmth, peonies don't just decorate your garden, they create moments that linger in memory. For those who believe that beauty is worth waiting for, peonies are your perfect match. They take their time to settle, sometimes a year or two before showing their full glory. But once established, they reward patience with decades of blooms, each one more abundant than the last. These perennials love full sun and rich, well-drained soil, thriving in the same spot, year after year, growing stronger, deeper, and more generous with time. Peonies also bring a sense of nostalgia, often passed from one garden to another as living heirlooms. They're for gardeners who find meaning in tradition, who cherish the idea that what they plant today will outlast the seasons and maybe even themselves. So this November, plant your peony roots and trust in their quiet promise. When spring comes, your patience will blossom, not just in flowers, but in the gentle joy of seeing something timeless come to life. Columbine, the dancer of spring breezes. The columbine is the kind of flower that seems to have its own rhythm. With its elegant, spurred petals that look like tiny lanterns or fluttering wings, it sways gently in the lightest wind, as if dancing to music only nature can hear. In late spring, when the air begins to warm and the days stretch longer, columbine bursts into bloom with colors ranging from soft blues and pinks to fiery reds and yellows. Each one a delicate brushstroke of joy. For gardeners who love a touch of whimsy, who see their gardens not just as a space, but as a story, and the columbine is a perfect fit. It thrives in part sun to light shade, adapting gracefully to both cottage-style borders and woodland paths. Once planted, it recedes naturally, popping up in new corners each spring, adding surprise in life without ever becoming unruly. This flower has a gentle spirit. It doesn't demand attention, but always manages to capture it, And when the hummingbirds and butterflies arrive to sip from its spurred blooms, your garden comes alive with movement and quiet magic. So as you plant this November, imagine the soft dance of columbine blossoms under the spring sun, a symbol of freedom, grace, and the beauty of letting nature move at its own rhythm. Part 3, the color weavers, spreading beauty across the ground. Some flowers don't just bloom, they transform the very ground beneath them. These are the perennials that flow like living paint, weaving color between stones, paths, and garden beds. Perfect for those who love effortless beauty. These plants cover empty spaces with life, turning every inch of your garden into a soft, colorful masterpiece. Creeping phlox, the living quilt of color. Imagine stepping into your garden one spring morning and seeing the ground transformed into a sea of color. Pinks, purples, blues, and whites rippling like waves in the breeze. That's the magic of creeping phlox. It's a plant that doesn't just grow, it spreads joy. As one of the earliest bloomers, it covers bare soil and rocky slopes with dense, flower-filled mats that glow under the morning sun. For those of you who crave a burst of life after months of dull winter tones, creeping phlox is a dream come true. It loves full sun, thrives in well-drained soil, and once established, asks for almost nothing. Even with minimal care, it rewards you with a long-lasting carpet of blooms that brighten your garden for weeks. Perfect for edging pathways, cascading over stone walls, or softening the edges of garden beds. It adds both structure and softness at once. And the best part, it's tough. This little plant handles cold, resists pests, and keeps its color long after many spring flowers fade. Whether you have a large yard or just a small border, creeping phlox finds a way to make every space feel alive. So this November, plant it where sunlight lingers. And come spring, watch as your garden floor becomes a tapestry of living color, one that greets you with happiness every time when you step outside. Dianthus, the sweet perfume of simplicity. If you've ever wanted a flower that feels both classic and effortlessly charming, Dianthus is your answer. Known fondly as pinks, these blooms are timeless. Small, fringed petals that look as though they've been trimmed with lace, releasing a gentle clove-like fragrance that lingers in the breeze. When the garden begins to wake from its winter rest, Dianthus greets you with cheerful clusters of pink, red, and white, brightening every corner with quiet joy. For gardeners who love both beauty and practicality, this perennial is a gift. It thrives in full sun, loves well-drained soil, and asks for little in return. Once planted, it begins a long, blooming season, often rewarding you with color from late spring well into summer. Perfect for lining walkways, softening rock gardens, or filling containers on sunny patios. Dianthus adds a touch of grace without fuss or complexity. Its simplicity is its magic. Even in small spaces, it brings warmth and fragrance that make you pause, smile, and breathe a little deeper. And if you cut a few blooms to bring indoors, that soft scent follows you, a reminder of calm and comfort. So as November arrives, tuck a few Dianthus plants into your garden. They'll sleep quietly through the cold and awaken in spring to remind you that beauty doesn't have to be loud to be unforgettable. Catmint, effortless color and calm. There's something wonderfully soothing about catmint. It's the plant that never seems to have a bad day. With its soft gray-green foliage and clouds of lavender-blue flowers, it brings both color and calm to your garden, creating that peaceful storybook charm we all crave after a long winter. When spring arrives, catmint doesn't just bloom, it thrives, spilling over borders and pathways like a gentle breeze made visible. For busy gardeners or anyone who wants beauty without constant care, catmint is a dream. It loves full sun, tolerates drought once established, and resists pests with ease. Even if you forget to water or trim for a while, it keeps blooming, humming quietly with bees and butterflies who adore its nectar. And when the first flush of blooms fades, a quick trim encourages a second wave. Proof that with just a little attention, nature always gives back. Catmint's relaxed, billowing shape makes it perfect for softening hard edges. Around patios, along fences, or beside bold flowers like roses or peonies. It brings balance to the garden. Effortless yet elegant, wild yet peaceful. So this November, plant a few catmint starters and imagine stepping outside in spring to a garden humming with life. Gentle color, gentle scent, and that rare feeling of everything being exactly as it should be. Part 4, the garden's backbone. Structure, strength, and statement blooms every garden. Needs a few stars, plants that rise above the rest, bringing shape, confidence, and rhythm to the view. These are the perennials that add architecture to your landscape, turning color into design and movement into harmony. They don't just fill space, they define it, giving your spring garden elegance and presence. Bearded iris, royal elegance in every petal. There's a moment in spring when the bearded iris steals the spotlight. Tall, regal, and graceful, it seems to stand with quiet confidence while its ruffled petals shimmer like silk. Each bloom feels like a masterpiece, painted in endless combinations of violet, gold, peach, and white. When the sun touches those petals, they almost glow, turning your garden into a gallery of living art. For gardeners who love a sense of design and balance, the bearded iris is perfection. It adds height and drama to beds and borders, breaking the monotony of low-growing plants. Best of all, it's surprisingly easy to care for. Plant its rhizomes in well-drained soil with plenty of sunlight. Give it space to breathe, and it will reward you with a breathtaking display year after year. And here's something that makes it even more special. The iris isn't just beautiful, it's symbolic. Across cultures, it's seen as a flower of courage, wisdom, and hope. It reminds us to stand tall even when the seasons change. So as you dig into the November soil, think of the iris not just as a flower, but as a promise that when spring returns, your garden will rise too, elegant and unshakable, just like this royal bloom. Salvia, the pulse of the garden when your garden begins to stir from winter's stillness. Salvia is the rhythm that brings it to life. With tall spikes of velvety blossoms in deep purples, blues, pinks, or reds, it doesn't just bloom, it creates movement and music. As sunlight hits its flowers, bees hover, butterflies dance, and suddenly your garden hums with quiet, joyful energy. Salvia is that plant that reminds you life is returning and it's full of color. For gardeners who crave vibrancy without the work, this is your go-to. Salvia thrives in full sun and well-drained soil, and once planted, it practically takes care of itself. Drought-tolerant, pest-resistant, and endlessly generous, it keeps blooming from late spring to summer, and if you give it a quick trim after its first show, it'll reward you with an encore of color. It's a versatile performer too, stunning in borders, striking in containers, and magical when paired with softer plants like catmint or yarrow. Together they create that effortless balance between strength and grace. So as you plant this November, picture your garden next spring. The hum of pollinators, the soft sway of purple blooms, and that steady pulse of life returning. That's salvia, bold, reliable, and always ready to lead the rhythm of your garden's revival. Ornamental alliums, floating orbs of light. Just when you think spring has shown all its colors, ornamental alliums rise above the rest, tall, proud, and glowing like floating lanterns in your garden. Each spherical bloom is made up of hundreds of tiny star-shaped flowers, creating the illusion of a soft, shimmering firework frozen in time. Their shades of purple, lavender, and white add both height and elegance, turning even a simple garden bed into something sculptural and alive. For gardeners who love structure and surprise, alliums are pure delight. They thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, asking for little more than space to stand tall. Once planted, these hardy bulbs settle quietly through winter and reward you in late spring with weeks of breathtaking blooms. And when their petals finally fade, the seed heads remain beautiful, like natural ornaments that keep your garden interesting well into summer. Alliums attract bees and butterflies while keeping deer and rabbits at bay, making them perfect for anyone who loves both beauty and practicality. Cluster them in groups of 3 or 5 among shorter perennials to create balance and drama. So as you plant this November, imagine your spring garden dotted with glowing orbs that seem to float above the greenery, quiet symbols of resilience and light that linger long after the season's first bloom. Part 5, the keepers of calm. Beauty that shines in the shade. Not every bloom needs full sun to be beautiful. Some perennials thrive in quiet corners, where light filters softly through leaves and shadows dance across the soil. These are the plants that bring peace to shaded spaces, steady, graceful, and full of quiet charm. They prove that even in the dimmest places, nature still finds a way to shine. Lungwort, the silver spark in shadow. Every garden has that one spot, too shady, too cool, where most flowers refuse to grow. That's exactly where lungwort shines. With its silver-speckled leaves and blooms that shift from pink to blue as they age, this plant transforms dark corners into shimmering pockets of life. It's like a hidden jewel, glimmering quietly under the trees while everything else waits for sunlight. For gardeners who love subtle beauty, lungwort is pure poetry. It thrives in part to full shade, enjoying the kind of soft, dappled light that filters through branches or fences. The soil should stay moist but never soggy, and once it settles, lungwort becomes a reliable companion, returning year after year with fresh energy and glowing foliage that lasts long after the blooms are gone. It's perfect for layering beside ferns, hostas, or brunnera, where its leaves add contrast and texture. And when spring arrives, those small, color-shifting flowers attract early pollinators, bringing a quiet buzz of life to the shaded parts of your garden. So this November, find that forgotten corner, the one that's always in shadow, and plant lungwort there. By spring, you'll see how even the gentlest sparkle of silver can turn darkness into beauty. Brunnera, the heart that never fades. If your garden had a soul, it might look a little like brunnera, calm, enduring, and quietly radiant, with its heart-shaped leaves brushed in silver and delicate clusters of tiny blue flowers. It brings a tenderness that feels almost timeless. When spring arrives, those forget-me-not blooms appear like scattered stars above the shimmering foliage, turning even the dimmest corner into a gentle dreamscape. Brunnera thrives in part to full shade, where its leaves catch bits of light and reflect them like moonlight on water. It prefers moist, rich soil and rewards consistency with unwavering beauty. Lush foliage. In summer, graceful endurance through fall, and a peaceful rest through winter. Once established, it asks for very little, but gives endlessly in return. For gardeners who love moments of quiet reflection, the kind found near a shaded bench or a winding garden path, brunnera is the perfect choice. It's not loud or showy, it's steady and sincere, a reminder that grace can be found in the simplest forms. So this November, as you tuck its roots into cool soil, picture your garden months from now, a tranquil space where silver hearts glimmer beneath the trees, whispering softly. That true beauty doesn't fade, it endures. Host a serenity in green when the world rushes by in a blur of color and noise. The hosta reminds you to slow down. With its broad sculpted leaves in shades of green, gold, or blue, it brings a calm, grounding beauty to your garden, like a deep, steady breath made visible. Each leaf unfurls in spring with quiet confidence, creating lush mounds that fill shaded spaces with texture and peace. For gardeners who love harmony and order, hostas are pure therapy. They thrive in part to full shade, enjoying the cool comfort that other plants might resist. The soil should be moist but well-drained, rich with organic matter. Once settled, they grow effortlessly, returning every spring larger and more graceful. Even when they're not blooming, their presence is enough. A living canvas of shapes and tones that soothe the senses. In summer, delicate lavender or white flower spikes rise above the foliage, adding a soft touch of contrast and elegance. Pair them with ferns, astilbes, or brunneras to create layers of calm in your shaded retreat. So this November, as you prepare your garden for rest, plant a few hostas where quiet beauty belongs. By the time spring returns, their leaves will unfold again, steady, serene, and ready to remind you that peace, like plants, grows where it's nurtured. A promise beneath the frost, and there you have it. 15 perennials that prove beauty, never truly sleeps. Each one, in its own way, shows that life continues quietly beneath the frost, waiting for the perfect moment to return. From the bold confidence of the bearded iris to the calm strength of the hosta, these plants remind us that growth doesn't stop when the weather turns cold. It simply begins beneath the surface. Planting in November isn't about rushing the seasons. It's about faith, the belief that what you nurture now will bloom later, brighter and stronger than before. When you press those roots into the cool soil, you're not just planting flowers. You're planting hope, patience, and the promise of renewal. So whether your garden is a sprawling backyard, a balcony full of pots, or a tiny patch of earth by your doorstep, start now. Give your future self the joy of stepping outside in spring and finding color where there was once only stillness. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 15 perennials will you plant this season? Or maybe you already have a favorite that returns every year to greet you after winter's quiet pause. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might inspire another gardener watching today. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights for more simple, heartfelt gardening inspiration. Together, we'll keep growing through every season, every bloom, and every small moment of joy nature offers.